And welcome everyone to Everything is Attitude, another episode. I'm here with Rosemary again, and I'm also here with a special guest this week, my sister Christina. So welcome everyone to another episode. Rosemary, welcome.
Hi, everybody. Well, I wasn't going to say that Christina was your sister. I was going to leave her incognito, but I don't suppose you care, do you now, Christina? It's done. It's the deed done. So, hello, everyone. Here we are once again. We have Al Pisano. We have Christina. We'll leave your last name out of it. It is not the same name, is it? But your brother and sister, and I know them both very, very well. I know Christina very well. And we thought it would be really great today to invite Christina on because she has a really great story and a really positive story, a fabulous attitude. So we thought we'd hear a little bit of that. But then I do understand from a very brief conversation we had yesterday that there is one area of your life that you find really hard to be positive about and to have a good attitude about. I have to apologize once again. My puppy has been so quiet and sleepy. I don't know if you can hear him puffing and panting in the background. It sounds like, I have to say, it sounds like someone's having really good sex in my house. It is not me, everybody, just to let you know.
So we didn't expect to start off the show.
Me.
We didn't expect to start off the show with that, but it's okay.
Well, you know what I'm saying. If you're hearing this, the heavy breathing, all of that stuff, it is not me, unfortunately. It is my puppy. And he just gets really, really hot. And we've had a bit of a storm here. And whenever there's thunder or lightning in the air, he really gets agitated. So that's what you're hearing, just in case any of you are wondering.
So, Rosemary, that concludes the R-rated version of the show. And now we'll get on to the regularly scheduled broadcast.
Well, look, it's a live show. You know as well as I do, Al. You both know I have, a very weird British sense of humour. And rather than somebody emailing me saying all of this stuff, I'd much rather put it out there and say, well, this is how it is, people.
You're cutting it off, yeah.
Yeah, what you see is what you get. So I'm going to sort of hand it over, I think, to you, Christina. Thank you very much for coming on, by the way, today. I always think when people come on a show like this, and, you don't know how many hundreds, if not thousands, and maybe even more.
No pressure though, Christina.
No pressure. I always feel that, if you're not used to doing it, it's quite something to, and to step up there and to be brave about it. And so I'd like to say thank you for that. So why don't we sort of go straight over to you? Maybe you can tell us a little bit about your story, and then a little bit about why you required maybe a little bit of help and advice in that one area that you struggle with.
Sure. And thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And making me feel even more nervous with all 8,000 people who are watching.
Okay.
All right. So my story is I am two-time cancer survivor. Once when I was 11 going into 12, and it was stage 4 Hodgkin's back in the 80s. Yes, I am that old.
You don't look it. You look good.
Thank you. So, and when they found it, I had a 20% chance of survival because it was in the last stage by the time they found it. So, of course, just because everybody's human, the first couple weeks I was freaked out that I was going to die. And, I had this amazing supportive family and, our dad who said, I can't promise you what's going to happen and what the future holds. And I remember this always, but I could get hit by a car tomorrow and life could end. We're going to do our best thing possible to get you through this and, whatever we can do. So after the initial freak out, I just sort of embraced it, because I didn't have a choice. I don't have a choice. I have to go through this. I have to go through chemo. I have to go through radiation. I had to lose my hair in junior high school. But I did my best, again, with the support of amazing family and friends, just know I was going to survive. Like I just didn't question it after.
But what you had, and you just said it right there, Christina, what you had was this amazing support system.
Absolutely.
And I think it's fair to say that so many people don't have that. And I think it's also fair to say that, you know, when you've got this amazing support system, it is easier to hanging on to them and hanging on to that support. And you were so young at the time too. I think it's fair to say that it's, you know, that I'm not saying it was easy, but certainly easier than those people who have to go through the same or similar things who do not have any support whatsoever. So carry on with your story there.
Yeah, no, and that's absolutely true, because even when we were going to Sloan Kettering in the city, there were so many support groups, so many families that didn't survive, like in terms of breaking apart. So it's so important to have that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just sort of embraced it. It is what it is. I didn't have a choice. I could wallow in it, or I could just, own it. And I did. And to the point where I was walking around in New York City with no hair and like radiation marks like a punk rocker for a while because I couldn't stand the wig. but yeah, so and I tried to not let it interfere with my regular life. I went to school when I could. There were times if I couldn't be around other people, I had to stay home, but I didn't let it interfere and got through it, thankfully, after about 2 years. And then as an adult, though, because I had so much radiation to my whole body when I was little, we joked, there was a category on Jeopardy about all the body parts, and my husband and I were watching it, and it was like, hey, those are all the body parts you're missing. It was like, because I've had a bunch of surgeries, I've had, just complications. I'm high risk for breast cancer, I'm high risk for heart disease, I had thyroid cancer. So again, as an adult, I lost my spleen, which was probably one of the biggest things for me to deal with, because I have to worry about germs and getting sick. And that's probably been one of the bigger struggles, like that weakness that I can't control, that my body can't fight that. So, but again,
you're very, very prone to infection. And
exactly. Yeah. And then things have happened to me where I've been hospitalized for like a virus that somebody else could have and not even know it. But again, not to say I don't have my down moments. When I was hospitalized with that virus, I was like, I was septic for a bit. Like it was challenging for me and emotional, and I get frustrated and I get mad because I can't fight this. But, again, this is what I was dealt, and I always know there's always people who are worse off than me. Like that is something that, I just know that I'm lucky. I'm still here. I'm still alive, breathing, and I've still got, this awesome life here in Colorado now. And I just have to, deal with these things as they come up. So
I'm going to stop you for a second here, because I know there's another part to the reason why you're on the show, but Al and I both, when we were talking about, starting the show and talking about everything is attitude, and really wanting to help people who do struggle with, with having a positive attitude as opposed to a negative attitude. So I just would like to ask you this then, because I know there are people listening to you who are thinking, wow, and how could she be so positive? And of course you look so upbeat, and so you did have your down times, right? You did have those times when your attitude was really stinky, I'm sure. But can you sort of in a nutshell give people perhaps some idea or maybe a little bit of insight into how you even when you had your down moments, how you managed for those down moments not to drag you down completely, and how you managed to stay positive the majority of the time? What do you think it was that helped you with that? I mean, can you, because there are people listening to this show who are going through all sorts of heartache and hardships and so on, people who have family and loved ones who are suffering and sick and so on. What would you say to them?
I mean, I think the biggest thing, is to know that there's, like I said, there's always people worse off. So, I'm so appreciative that I'm still here. And again, yes, I have my down moments, but it's to remind myself that I have a choice in these moments, because, if I wallow in it, if I feel sorry for myself, my body's going to be weaker. I really, truly believe like your attitude is everything. And it's just a matter of, and everything is attitude. Like, it's just how I feel and how I portray myself. And I was joking about me looking good in the hospital bed. I will get up in the hospital as crappy as I feel. I'm going to put a little eyeliner on. I'm going to make myself feel good. I'm going to get dressed. I used to get in trouble all the time for not wearing hospital gowns because I don't want to be a hospital patient. So I think it's just your perspective.
What do you think that is? Do you think that's stubbornness of character? Do you think it's where do you get the ability, do you think, where does this ability to say, I'm not going to be a victim, because that's what you're really saying. Where do you think that comes from, or how do you think that determined your attitude? Because it could so easily have gone the other way, and does so easily go the other way for other people. So I suppose what I'm looking for from you is, can you give any tips to anybody out there listening as to, maybe the way they think, what they need to do in order to sort of to develop a more positive attitude rather than sinking, because it's very easy to sink into that,
Yeah. I think it's focusing on the positive things despite what's going on. Again, it's good to have, like, reaching out to family, reaching out to friends if you're lucky enough to be able to do that. It's just continuing with your life as best you can in that sort of normal way, despite all the obstacles. And I truly, truly, truly believe, like, if you believe that you're going to be okay, it definitely has a good impact on your body, and keeping positive has a good impact on your health. I do visualization. I do healing on myself at night to keep myself.
That's what I'm looking for.
Because
we're here all about, finding those recipes for life. And I think learning a visualization technique is very important. So that's one of the ingredients in the recipe that you have created for yourself. So using visualization techniques. You mentioned something else that you did.
I do healing. I do visualization.
And you do visualization. You visualize healing with yourself, on yourself. Yeah. I think I'm going to throw a couple more ingredients in there for anybody who's listening, who really needs to sort of have some idea of what they can do. Specifically, we're looking for the steps that we can give to people, the recipe, the ingredients that we can give to people for their life. And Al, if you can think of anything, just chime in here. But I'm thinking of, I will often give people a little job to do, which is very simple and very easy. Before you go to bed at night, you just make a list of the 10 things that have been positive in your life. You can do it mentally, or you can actually physically scribble your list, make a list of all 10 good things that happened to you in that day, and just keep reiterating and reading that list over and over. And the more you feel that you're sliding downhill and going into negativity, the louder you have to read the list to yourself, the more firm you have to be with yourself. You have to really, really work at this, because and you mentioned visualization techniques, and luckily we'll be doing those in our classes. But just being able to sort of sit back and just to visualize, for instance, if you can just close your eyes and visualize the color blue, visualize yourself wrapped in a blue blanket, because blue is the color of healing. So I tell my patients, just sit back quietly, close your eyes, and just visualize yourself wrapped in this nice, soft, warm blanket of blue, and just stay there for a while until you're feeling better. So making the list, it's okay to make the list, but what you do with the list, you see, it's an ingredient, but what's the method? How do we put all these things together? And so, creating this visualization and creating yourself either in a bubble or wrapped in a blanket, or visualizing the color blue, which is a healing color, making that list. It's all right if you're going to make the list, you've got to do it every day. And even if it's the same list the day after and the day after and the day after that, it doesn't matter. As long as you find 10 positive things, 10 good things that happen to you in the day, and they can be the smallest things. But then what do you do with it once you've made it? Well, you can shove it under your pillow and you can forget all about it. You can throw it in the bin, or you can put it on the table and never use it again, never look at it again. But if you want to make this cake a good cake, if you want to have this recipe to be really, really good and rich and delicious and working for you, you really need to actually then read over and over and over and repeat and repeat and repeat all of those good things until you feel life is not so bad. My day was not so bad. I survived this day. These are the 10 things that helped me to survive. Wow, they're not so bad. And as hard as that can be, especially when you're feeling down, if you force yourself to do it, you'll find that it really does work. Al, do you have any input here?
So I want Christina to talk about after this, talk about when she was younger, just a little bit about that nurse that told you the prayer and that piece too. But I love tactile things that I could feel in my hands and my fingers, and I'm very much into crystals and stones. I have what are called worry stones, and it could be any stone, a tiger's eye or quartz or whatever. And I have those around me or on me in bracelet form. I have different stones, things that I can kind of feel. Those are the things that'll help me sort of grab something and focus and remind myself to be positive.
Again, it's not just having the beads, it's being able to use them. They're called worry beads,
Yeah.
actually. But I mean, it basically means anything you worried about, anything that you're nervous about, if you touch them and you massage them and you use them, but at the same time as you're touching them and playing with them and so on, you've also got to have that positive, visualization that's going on with you as well, that encourage you to do this in a positive way. Because I've actually seen people using worry beads and they've become even more negative because they're pouring all of the negativity into this. And so it's about really focusing on things that are going on in your life, no matter how bad your life is, focusing on those things, which is why I'm suggesting make a list and so on, but focusing on those things and reminding yourselves of those things on a regular basis. And whether you use worry beads or whether you make a list or whether you do visualization or all of those things together, which is, the best thing to do. I think using those things and making those things work for you in a positive way is very important thing to remember.
So Christina, you learned this at a very early age. Just really quickly, the nurse that gave you that prayer. Can you just mention?
Yep. When I was diagnosed in the hospital in Long Island, the nurse came in one night because I was upset, of course, and she told me about prayers, saying Our Father, Hail Mary, and a novena to St. Jude, and then following it with visualization. And she said, just imagine, like, however you want to perceive it, but imagine that, all these, whatever, I envisioned little blue fluffy guys. And this is when I was 11, before I even knew about blue as a healing color, but little blue fluffy guys going through my body and getting all the cancer out at night. And it's something my dad and I did together, every night for God knows how many years. And just really focusing your energy on, like, in with the good, out with the bad. And it, I still do it to this day. I do.
Well, you're saying you used these blue fluffy guys, even though you didn't know about blue being the healing color in those days, but your soul knows these things. So I think when you're, especially when you're sick and when you're afraid, if you listen to your intuition and if you listen to the inner voice, those instincts will kick in and they will tell you exactly what it is that you need to do. You've got to listen to them then. Though I think it's amazing, really. I'm, so thrilled that you had that wonderful nurse who was able to help you. And again, your father must have been extremely listening to you, talking about him. He was obviously very influential in helping you through this. Okay, so now we know how positive you are, right? We've got it. You are a survivor. All right. So even the most positive of us, and I'm including myself in this, even the most positive of us struggle in certain areas. And I know that you have a struggle. In what area do you struggle?
So I struggle in calming my brain because I am a doer. My brother, wise man over there, always tells me my strength is my biggest weakness because I think I could tackle everything, get everything done. I can multitask, but I just never shut off, where I'm just like, okay, brain, calm. And I know it's so important for my health. I can eat well, I can exercise, but a meditation, anything where it's like quieting my brain, like really truly quieting my brain, where I'm not thinking about 20 other things to do while meditating, is a struggle for me. And the only place I am calm is at the beach. That's my Zen place, where I could literally stay for like 6 hours and not think about anything but the ocean. But I need to incorporate that into my daily life for my health. That's my biggest struggle.
And you find it hard to do that?
I've had a wellness goal with my coach for like 2 years now to meditate 5 minutes once a week. Ask me if I've done that.
And what's the answer? The answer
Big fat no.
No. Right? Can't do it.
Big no.
Well, I know that there are people out there, people listening, who have a struggle. They have everything else great in their lives, but they can't deal with their diet, for instance, or they have everything else great in their life and they can't deal with that woman at work, or and so on and so forth, or the kids drive you crazy, or whatever it is. We all have those things about us that we, no matter how positive and no matter how successful we are, there are always those little niggly areas that could, let's say, use some improvement. It sounds like your area here could really use some improvement. So if the issue is, the meditating, because you're right, it's extremely important for all of us to have quiet time. And I don't mean just sitting watching TV, and I don't mean just sitting, at the beach. I don't mean just, hanging out. I'm talking about, when I talk about quiet time, I'm talking about those moments when we quiet our soul. When we become one with our soul, we connect with our soul, and everything else goes away. And we are just at one, and most importantly, at peace. And in those moments that we achieve that, they are probably the most positive and the most tremendous healing moments. Healing not just our physical body, healing our mind, healing our soul, giving light to our spirit. This in these quiet moments, in these shut out moments. And I'm guessing, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing, when you think about doing the thing that you can't do, you think, I'll do it first thing in the morning, or I'll do it later, or maybe tonight, oh fiddle, I'll do it tomorrow. We're always putting off the thing that we often find the most difficult, but the most important, one of the most important things to do, because as you know, it is extremely important to do this. But I think when you can't do a thing, or you struggle to do a thing, I think there is a tendency to put it off and put it off and put it off until tomorrow, and then it never gets done. Would you agree with that, Al? I'm looking at you, don't you? Because I know you struggle.
I know why you're looking at me, as always, too. You've stressed so many times to me the importance of giving to yourself. And if you don't give to yourself and heal yourself and take time for yourself, how you actually will emotionally and physically, your body will break down.
But spiritually also, which is the most important thing, I think.
Right.
I think before we go any further with this, because I do have some little, I might have a recipe for you in this regard. Let's put it that way. I want to stress to people, and I said this yesterday. I know you weren't with us yesterday, Al, when we did our YouTube session yesterday. We did the show yesterday morning, the Thursday morning show. We're getting so many people asking, can you help me to fix this? Will you help me to do that? Can you? My life is such and such and so and so and so forth, and it's so easy for in this day and age. Especially with computers. I mean, how easy is it if we don't know how to spell a word? We say, I can't say it because my phone will go off, but we'll say, I'll say, I've got an iPhone. Hey, Siri, Did it? No, it didn't go. But it sometimes does. You know, how do you spell such and such? We don't even have to look it up anymore. We don't have to go to the bookshelf and get out a dictionary. It's at our, everything is at our fingertips. One of the things I used to love to do years and years and years ago was to go through the thesaurus, because the thesaurus is, to me, one of the most amazing books. You have a word and the thesaurus will give you, I don't know, a dozen, if not more, words that mean the same thing or connect in the same way with that word you're wanting to know about. And as a writer, I used to love to go through the thesaurus and I would pore over it for hours and hours sometimes. We don't do that anymore. Everything is at our fingertips. Everything is the quick fix. We're going to have the quick fix. You go to the doctor and you know all you need from him is a prescription. Give me the pills, kid, and I'll be fine. And this is the life I think that we're living here right now, because everything is so computerized and everybody thinks that there is a quick fix. There's a quick answer to our situations. And I say to people all the time, if you're coming to me for a quick fix, you're not going to get it. And what happens is you go to people, they give you a quick fix, and pretty soon, after a week or so, or even a few days or so, you realize it's not working. So you go to see somebody else for another quick fix, and then you go to somebody else for advice, and they give you a quick fix, and so on. Quick fixes don't work. The only thing that's going to work to change our lives, to change our attitudes, to build our lives in a positive and a good way, is putting in a little bit of effort. And honestly, it's not even about putting in a huge amount of effort. I'm not asking someone to climb a mountain. I'm not even asking someone to go into a coal mine and dig for coal. The exercises, the recipes, the ingredients that you need for your life, very often you have to work at them. Sure you do, but they might only take 5 minutes in a day. But what you have to do is you have to do that on a consistent level every day. It's not enough to do it 1 day, 2 days, 5 days. Well, I did it for a week or two and then nothing happened. It didn't work. Yeah, well, you need to do it not for a week or two. You've got to do it for your life. This is your life's work from now on. So I'm going to give you a couple of ingredients here, which might help you to focus, to help you to focus on finding that 5 minutes in the day for your meditation. And I'll feel free to jump in here anytime you like with if you've got some ideas here. First, let's talk about meditation. The amount of people who tell me they meditate every day. Just pointing out, there is a difference between meditating and contemplating. When you sit and meditate, and then as with, I'm sure happens to you, Christina, things start to come in. What you're going to have for dinner? What's next on your list of things to do? Things to start to pop in here and there. That is not meditating. That is contemplating. And it's not going to give you peace and harmony. In fact, it's going to do the opposite, because then you start to worry about, well, how much time have I got to cook dinner, or how much time have I got to go before I go pick up the kids from school, and so on. So I think meditation is not easy, but there are certain types of meditation that you can do. I start my students off with a candle. And what you have to do is you have to make an appointment with yourself. That's ingredient number 1. Make an appointment. A daily appointment. You decide when the appointment happens, but it has to happen. It's just as important for you to make an appointment with yourself as it is for you to make an appointment with the doctor, as it is to make an appointment with your colleagues at work, as it is to make an appointment for that really important meeting that you have. So number 1 ingredient is you need a diary, and you need to write in your diary. Of course, it's all computerized now, so you don't actually necessarily need to write it down. But you make an appointment with yourself for a certain time, and you stick to that time on a daily basis. If it means getting up 5 minutes earlier in the morning, or if it means going to bed 5 minutes later at night, as long as you do it, but it has to be daily. And you make that appointment with yourself, okay? Now, You also have to decide on the consequences. If you miss the appointment, you have to give yourself a consequence. So whatever it is that you would hate to deprive yourself of, you've got to meditate before you go hiking. I know you love hiking. So you know what I'm saying? If you don't meet your appointment, then you can't meet the appointment to go hiking either. So you have to give yourself some consequences, right? We can talk about what those consequences might mean in a moment. I'm wanting some input from you guys. So make an appointment, and it needs to be a certain time, and I would suggest the same time every day, because your soul, your spirit is requiring that you have this quiet time. And so you're doing this because you want to feed yourself. You're feeding yourself, right? It's important to know. But you're feeding yourself the most important thing you could possibly give to yourself. Without this quiet time, without this connecting with your soul, you're not giving yourself the right kind of nourishment. And so therefore, sooner or later, your body will start to break down one way or another. It's really that simple. If you don't feed yourself, then your soul will start to lack nourishment. Your spirit, the light, the energy that is, the energy of your soul will start to diminish somewhat. And sooner or later, you will feel the effects of not feeding yourself. Okay. So make your appointment. Then I teach my students, and there are lots of different ways to meditate, and you have to find the one that is right for you. But meditation is about getting the mind to be completely empty. And the only way you can get the mind completely empty is to actually fill it with something. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you leave space in your mind, outside influences are going to fill it, right? So I teach my students candle meditation. So basically you sit, you light a candle, you can use a flower, you can use anything you like, any visual that you like, but the candle works really, really well, because you know how when you look at a light bulb, you stare at a light bulb for a minute and then you close your eyes, or you see, is it right? You close your eyes, but in here, in your mind, you've still got that light going on. While something's in there, nothing else can get in. So you stare at the candle flame for a couple of minutes or something. You close your eyes. If you cannot see the candle flame in your mind's eye, you open your eyes and you focus again. And you keep doing that until all you have when you close your eyes is the candle flame right there. And as soon as you've got the candle flame right there, then you sit and you're quiet and you just focus on the candle flame. Nothing else can get in. Nothing else can get in. And you keep your eyes closed and you keep quiet and you have this quiet time until the candle flame disappears. You open your eyes again and you do it again, and you keep repeating the process until that candle flame is sitting right there in there. Now, if you do this on a regular basis, make an appointment with yourself and you do this on a regular basis, eventually you won't even need the candle. Eventually you'll be able to sit quietly, always palms upwards, everybody, in a receiving position on your lap. Sit somewhere quiet where the phone is not going to go off, where you're not going to be disturbed, where the computer can't do the ping ping thing that it does when messages come in. You make sure it's quiet time, okay? And then eventually you'll be able to just sit quietly. You'll close your eyes and it will be there. The candle flame will be there. Or eventually nothing will be there. Nothing at all except peace and calm and quiet. But that candle flame, that pure white light, represents your soul, represents the spirit or the energy of your soul, which is bright, 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 bright white light. Okay. And that for me is the easiest way. If people have real struggles meditating, it's the easiest way. It also can help you tremendously. I've got, I think I did 4 or 5 meditation CDs that I've got. You can, if anybody wants them, all you have to do is email Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com and I'm afraid you have to pay for them, but they're not that expensive. But you can go into a store, you can go anywhere you like, you can go on the internet. You know, I've just said how quick everything is, how available everything is. You can go and you can find a meditation tape that suits you. So it's just quiet, calm music in the background. Make sure that there's nothing going on there that is disturbing what you're trying to do. Because, you know, sometimes, you know, what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another. My healing meditations, you'll hear my voice in the background, but it is not intrusive. And if you find it intrusive, it's not good for you. So try something else. But that is one way that you can meditate. But, and especially with you, Christina, because you've gone through all this health stuff, you really need to do this. This is not something that you would like to do, in my opinion. This is something that you need to do. And I also think that other people really need to do this, because we have to feed our soul, and this is one of those ways that we feed our soul. Al, over to you. You're sitting there very quietly and don't want you to think I never said anything today. So what do you think?
It's fine. No worries about that. So obviously, it takes discipline to do this, and once you get started, as you've kind of outlined with the meditation, I think often when you meditate, or when people meditate, they meditate with a certain goal or objective in mind. And with that, we've talked about in the past shows expectation. So in your view, how would you go about doing this? Clear your mind, but also not expect or elicit a certain result.
Well, I think you know it's back to the quick fix, isn't it? It's back to the quick fix. Everybody think, you know, not everybody. Good Lord, not everybody at all. But I think there are so many people out there who they think if they do this for a week, then they've mastered it, and if they haven't mastered it, let's move on to something else. Let's try something different. Let's move it along, because people are wanting the quick fix and they're expecting, right? The difference between expecting something to happen and hoping that it happens. And when you're expecting that you can master this, or that, you know, you're going to be feeling absolutely at peace and wonderful in the first few days or so on, it won't last if you give up, I can tell you. But don't have high expectations of yourself. This is something that is supposed to be done just for the pure joy of it, and just, you know, just for the heck of it. It's just something that is so good to do when you can master this. It's so good. It gives you such peace. But if you're expecting something miraculous to happen while you're doing it, then already you're interfering with the process. You're interfering because your mind is saying, on some subconscious level, yeah, I can do it, but I want this and this at the end. This is the result I want at the end. So be hopeful. Hope that you can do it every day. Whether it's a candle, whether it's a flower, whether it's you visualize a mountain, whatever it is you're visualizing. Again, I find it easier, especially for people who cannot meditate, I find it easier for them to use the candle, because it's a visual, but it's nothing that's going to sort of start you wondering, well, what is it and why is it and where is it? And again, I'm using the analogy of when, you know, you're looking at a bright light and you close your eyes, all you can see is the light, you know, it's just nothing else. And just closing your eyes and having that light there, you're already not thinking of anything except, wow, you know, that's what you're thinking. You're not really thinking at all. When people meditate, when you meditate, the best way, you know, there's a great story. There was a Buddhist monk. It's a very famous Buddhist story, actually. There was a Buddhist monk who meditated. And he meditated on a peach stone. So every morning, for years, I'm not talking a week or two or a month or two, for years and years, he became a legend. People would come from far and wide to see this monk who would sit all day, every day, meditating on the peach stone. And then one day, and it was almost as if everybody was so used to seeing him there, nobody ever thought not to see him there. And then one day, people started to realize that the only thing that was there anymore was the peach stone. Do you understand what I'm saying? He became the peach stone. You become the light. That's what meditation is about. You become the light. You become part of the light. You become the joy and the beauty of the light. But Al, you're right. Anybody who is expecting, things to happen quickly, forget it. You need to never watch us ever again, because I'm not going to ever give you a quick fix.
And Rosemary, the visualization piece is the centering piece, correct? So if you're visualizing the candle or the flower or whatever it is, it's meant to sort of draw you back to, okay, just focus on this. If the expectations come in, if your mind starts wandering, all that, that's the purpose of it, right? That's the purpose of that visualization.
When your mind starts to wander, quit.
Right.
Cut it out, quit, and try again the next day. Don't force yourself to it. This is a fun, gentle, loving exercise. It should not be a chore. It should be something you look forward to. So don't, if you feel that you're contemplating as opposed to meditating, quit for the day. You've tried. And if you've tried, that's all you can expect of yourself. But you have to keep that appointment. I also have to say this. I hear people saying all the time, oh, I meditate for 2 hours a day. Well, actually, there's no need for you to meditate for 2 hours a day. All your soul requires is that you recognize it, even if it's for a second or two. But I always say to my students, have an alarm clock next to you while you're meditating. Put it on, or a timer. Put it on for 10 to 15 minutes, no more. Because meditation, you don't want to be wandering off into the universe and, not paying attention to what's happening to you, to your soul, to your spirit. 10 to 15 minutes, have a little timer, make sure when the buzzer goes, that's it, you're done. Whether you manage to achieve that, the image in your mind does not matter. You just keep doing it until it does happen. I guarantee you, if you do this on a regular daily basis, and you only need to do it once a day, if you choose to do it 2 or 3 times a day, it's fine. But don't get fanatical about it either, because as I've said, it should be something that you really want to look forward to. You want to hear, oh, great, it's 10 o'clock, my meditation time, lovely. And you know that after your 10 minutes or your 15 minutes, you're done, but you're feeling great. Eventually, when it starts to work, you're feeling great, you're feeling more at peace. You've been fed. Your soul has been fed. Christina, what do you think to what I've just said to you? Are you going to try this?
Yes. And actually, I like the part that resonated the most, because believe it or not, I've had like a time scheduled on my phone, like every day for like a year. But I think the part that I love is the focus on, like, to really focus on like the candlelight, and especially with all the different flame, like that's what I need. I need something to like really like concentrate on, not like all the other clutter. Yeah. I love that part.
Yeah. Yeah. Al, I know that we have a few people. Do we have any comments? Anybody participating with us today? Or
Irene chimed in, said this will help me too. Thank you.
Hi, Irene. Hi, everybody.
Brent said I'll do this after giving to everyone except myself for years, talking about their body breaking down and anxiety, and saying that meditation is essential.
It is essential. I do believe that it is essential.
A woman, Miriam, says she loves that idea. I don't know when she said it. Margaret asked about how can I find a quiet place if everyone around you is interfering.
Can I make a suggestion?
Mm-hmm.
The bathroom is a great place. You only need it for 10, 15 minutes. Lock the door. Tell everybody, I'm going to the bathroom. And if you can't find quiet and peace in your bathroom, go to a friend's bathroom. Go to a public toilet, anywhere. I mean,
Rosemary,
there are always places to go.
You also mentioned before the sound piece and, your meditation tapes. What's helped me in the past, and I have devices everywhere that I could ask to play nature sounds. You could put on headphones. You could put on ocean waves, the sound of rain. There's a lot of ways to actually physically block out
And
Yeah.
actually, that's a good idea, Al, to put on headphones, because even if someone comes banging on the bathroom door, you don't hear them, which is great. And and if you can't find that quiet time, then you need to discipline your family a little bit. I'm having my 10-15 minutes, clear off, go away, do your own thing, whatever it is. You need to set some rules for your family, because honestly, if you really want to do this, or whatever it is you want to do, whatever exercise, whatever it is you're trying to achieve or to attain, some kind of growth and knowledge, spiritual or otherwise, you you will, if you really want to do something, you'll find the time to do it. And if you don't want to do it, it's fine. It doesn't matter. Hey, everybody chooses, right? But if you really do want to do it, that's what you do. I mean, I have some great things for people. We're going to be talking about that, and certainly talking about it in our classes as well. I mean, I know how many people struggle with dieting. I've got some great ideas for that too. So, there are always ways that we can help ourselves, but do not expect that quick fix, because it's not, absolutely not going to happen.
Rosemary, a question came up, and you talked about it a little bit before, about sort of the caution you need when you start to meditate too long, when you start to drift off into the universe. So Brent asked, what about meditation music as we drift off to sleep? Could you speak to that?
A lot of people find it helpful in getting to sleep. So, I just, I don't see that there's an issue or a problem with it, because all you're doing is you're listening to music which is calming you and helping you to relax and so on. When you are actually sitting to meditate, though, this is why I say to my students, have caution, because when you're meditating, you're raising your level of consciousness. You're lifting yourself beyond, above that normal physical. You're connecting with your soul, and we're putting ourselves out there and out into the universe, and you don't do that lightly, and you always have to be responsible, which is why I say to my students, no more than 10 to 15 minutes. But listening to music, and just sort of, even if it's meditation music, you're not actually lying down thinking, I'm going to meditate myself to sleep. You're just listening to music and allowing it to calm you on a physical level. And, I've got some great exercises, for helping people to sleep without the music as well as with music. But if whatever works for you to help you to sleep is fine. Meditation is something that's completely different. Meditation is that action. We take an action. We have our ingredients. What were they? Can we remind everybody again? Make an appointment with yourself, right? You have to make an appointment, and you have to keep it. And if you don't keep it, give yourself a consequence, so that the next day you'll make sure you keep it. It's like going to the doctor, and you arrive there, and the appointment's at 10 o'clock, and you arrive there at 10:15, and they say, sorry, you're going to have to wait another week now. And quite rightly, because the doctors can't be sitting there waiting for people to turn up, even if you don't intend to be late. So there are consequences in life, so you've got to give yourself those consequences. So instead of, I didn't keep my appointment, so rather than go hiking, I'm going to have to make another appointment with myself. I'm going to do it now. That's what I'm suggesting. So can we look at the ingredients? Because we've already discussed the method of how we use them, but the ingredients are to make an appointment with yourself, to use visualization techniques. We've just described a little bit how you can do that. You've got to get a candle and some matches to light it with. So these are all the ingredients that you need. You need to make your list. So whether you mentally make your list, or whether you physically write down what is on your list, 10 good things that happened in the day, these sorts of things are going to inspire you to be confident in and they're going to help you to keep your appointment with yourself. Okay. And then you combine these things, But then as far as the meditation itself is concerned, what do we do with the candle? I've already explained the method. So we've got a recipe, we have the ingredients, we have the method, and the result is, ta-da, we made a great cake, or we've made a great sauce, or whatever it is. But these are our recipes for life. Christina, I'm going to hand almost the last word over to you. Do you want to say anything else? We're so grateful to you for coming on the show. Thank you so much. I always think it's such a brave thing to do, but you're such a sweetheart. You look gorgeous, by the way. I love the red. I love that popping color there. Do you want to say anything else, or anything else that's come to your mind as we've been talking here?
Yeah, I think two quick things. I think reminding with the recipe is also reminding myself over and over again how really truly important it is to my health. Like I will do everything.
Can I just stop you? I'm not asking you to be quick.
Okay.
So two quick things. Just take your time.
Okay.
All right. Sorry. So yes, start again. Sorry.
Just reminding myself how important it is, because, with all the complications I have and all the things that can happen, like I said, I take care of the physical pieces of it, the nutrition pieces of it. I struggle with them, yes, like everybody else, but I'm more aware of those. But the brain piece and the need to, to connect with my soul is so important. And I've got to remind myself of that over and over. I think that's going to help. And the other thing I would say is just to always remember, like, I know I don't have a choice in my health and what the future holds for me with all the complications that could potentially come up down the road. Something always rears its head every year or two, but I have a choice in how I react to it. And I think that's the most important thing for me, is to choose to react to it in the positive way versus, I could wallow in it. I could be sad. I could be depressed. I can keep myself in a bubble every day, but what good is that going to do me? It's going to just make me miserable. So I think it's just the fact that I have a choice. I don't have a choice in my health, but I have a choice in how I handle it. And I think that's the important part, is just to.
I do think that we do have a choice in our health somewhat,
Mm-hmm.
in that doing our meditation, eating the right foods. That doesn't mean depriving yourself of the good stuff. It just means eating the foods that are right for your body, and everybody reacts differently to the foods that are out there. So I think you say you don't have a choice in your health. To a point you don't, but to a point you do. You can prolong, you can make it easier, you can make it more difficult for other things to creep in by doing those those things that you need to do.
Yep. Like meditation.
I didn't want to say it to you because I think, yes, get on with that meditation. Don't you dare let me down. And I want to report.
I'll report in.
I think
the pressure's on.
Coming back to it, though, I think that anybody who's out there, you don't have to do this every day. The more you do it, the more successful you're going to be doing it. If you want to do it 5 days a week and take a break over the weekend, that's fine. But make your appointments, write in your diary, make an appointment, put it down, write it down, or however you make your diary. It's as important as the doctor's appointment. It's important as the appointment at the gym. It's important as the meeting friends for lunch appointment. This is an appointment that you need to make with yourself, and you need to keep it. Al, do you have any last words for us?
My last words are going back to the support piece that Christina talked about.
Yes.
We know not everybody has the support that you've had, Christina. And our hope, we talked about this, I think, last week, Rosemary, is that this offers some of that support to people so that they can watch this video over and over again and connect with us, email us, which we didn't put up here this time, but I will.
Can you repeat that for us, Al? The email that people
it's info@everythingisattitude.com. So we're here. A big part of why we're here, Rosemary, is to go through these things and help others and who are struggling, who need to understand how to do things. So that's a big piece of it.
I would like to point out to everyone that we don't get paid for this, Al, do we? I mean, it's
No.
not it's not like we're making oodles and oodles of money because we're not making any.
This is our exciting Friday night, Rosemary, right?
Well, yes, and there are things we're going to be charging people. We're going to make money one way, have to, don't we? Everybody has to eat or pay the bills or what have you. But yes, so it's give me the email again.
So it's up on screen too. info@everythingisattitude.com.
Great. And so, Christina, thank you. Once again, Al, thank you. I think, Christina, you've given people such a lot of inspiration. And just having you here and listening to this story and seeing how sort of upbeat you are, even though we know you have your down days, but you are mostly an upbeat kind of a person, really has, I think it really has the potential to inspire so many people to follow you and to, you know, and if anyone needs to know more about Christina's story, you email as, what is it?
Info@everythingisattitude.com.
Oh, I'm terrible. Info@everythingisattitude.com. And, you know, you can get to know all of our guests who come on the shows a little bit. If you want to come on the show, if you're brave enough or daring enough, as Christina is, please let us know. Again, email us info@everythingisattitude.com. I got it right there. I can't believe it. And just let us know, because we would love to have you on and we would love to help you. We would love to give you our recipes for life, for your life in particular, but for all of those who are listening, I think, you know, recipes for life are very, very important. We have to have the ingredients, and then we have to know what to do with them in order that our life can be the best sauce, the best cake, the best it can possibly be. And that's what we're about. So until next Friday, I think it will be, Al, we'll let you know. Until next Friday night at the same time, 6 o'clock Standard Eastern Time. It's whatever it is, it's 2 hours behind us in Colorado, right? Until then, until we see you next time, remember we're Thursday mornings live on YouTube. You want to know anything else about us, email us, feel free. Until then, you know what I'm going to say, all of you, I'm sure. Please, please, please have a very, very, very blessed day.